Thank you for having me. It's a great honor and pleasure to be with terrific people from the region. And this is the kind of event I'm always excited about, being with entrepreneurs and being with everybody else who's excited about playing this game. And hopomaniac, I think it's a great term to describe them. So my name is Fadi Bishara. I'm originally from Syria. I've lived in California now for about 25 years. I want to tell you a little bit about Blackbox and what we do at Blackbox. So basically, we started Blackbox over 5 years ago, and we focus on everything we try to do is to empower founders. Our focus is to elevate entrepreneurs globally. We do this by bringing people from all around the world and immerse them in the experience of Silicon Valley. We don't just help them play the startup game better, we help them play a better game. We believe, as we've seen, this is a great example with Mudassir, role models are really how we could impact and encourage entrepreneurship, encourage people to create value and go on this path. So in our programs, we bring people to help them stretch their mind, focus their ambitions, and learn the craftsmanship of entrepreneurship, some of the best practices and the tricks and the hopes and the contacts to help them grow their business globally. We've had companies from close to 60 countries to date in the past 5 years. And we've had a lot of applications. Over 4,000 applicants have applied to our programs. And out of those, that they've been about 250 companies, close to 350 entrepreneurs. We've had 38% female founders. This is a typo in that slide. And we have had, as I said, representation from 58 countries. We've been working with Google and a network of Google for Entrepreneurs globally for the past 4 years, and we've gone for 2 more years with that, and that helps us also expand our reach and reach more partners. The most interesting fact that I'm very proud of is to see that over 90% of the companies that have come to our programs continue to grow. And that's something, of course, I think the game of entrepreneurship is not easy, but the tenaciousness of entrepreneurs outside of Silicon Valley is obvious and clear in this room. And this is what we nurture, and we're very happy to see them going on that path. Over 65% of them raise money between 3 to 9 months after the program. We've had 9 exits to date, and the cumulative value of the portfolio is over $500 million right now. So these are just general numbers telling you about Blackbox. What we think, we have everything, all the right ingredients to be entering of an entrepreneurial revolution or the entrepreneurial era. And this is, in my belief, has started because of a lot of factors have contributed to getting us to this point, but primarily is the internet, and it was more valuable to have internet than to have electricity. It's just connecting through something to a massive amount of knowledge that we could package and create services and products and companies around the world. So with that, just to kind of see this as it's happened through initially from the how we move from the industrial age, we move into the information age and information revolutions, transforming these goods into digital goods and transportations and all the logistics been solved. And then we are entering into this now, the next phase of the next era, that the ability for people to create value and reach massive audience all around the world is possible for them. And the 3 key ingredients that we believe that kind of help get us to this, that is causing a global impact in the economy, as we've seen with Kareem and many other examples, that they are in all corners of the world, is that the first one is the democratization of the entrepreneurship. It's much easier, as we all know, to start a company now and start a business, and there are all these connections and all of the servers and the services that we can plug into and create value, the ability to reach customers via the devices that they have on them and all of that. allows for the entrepreneurship to be created from any part of any nodes and any city in any corner of the world. The second is what we've seen is a diverse in the investments and how the innovation growth and all of the support of innovators have diverse. It was concentrated heavily in Silicon Valley for many, many years and very few pockets around the world. Now we've seen this diversification going globally, and that's obvious, that the investment capital and the risk capital, and they're going to find innovations in many areas globally. And this is one of the greatest places that we see it happening also in Turkey, and we're glad to see more of it in here. The third evidence of these trends that we see is this new generation. They're born and connected from the minute that they're starting to be aware and connected with friends. So their ability to see the world as one entity and to see customers and to see possibilities to access market globally is part of their DNA. And these are the three key trends that is helping seeing this evolution evolving from all over the world. The problem that we see, though, is the entrepreneurial opportunities around the world is not equally distributed. There is inequality for opportunities and for entrepreneurs globally. And this is a very important key resource, key issue that we want to address and we want to help figure out more solutions for. Millions of entrepreneurs all around the world right now, they don't have access to reach their full potentials because of culturals, because of policy, because of all kind of other reasons that restricting their growth and restricting the ability for them to achieve their full potentials and contribute in an even much more meaningful way. The global impact, if we support this entrepreneurship to reach their full potentials, to increase their abilities only by 10%, is enormous. There is an organization, a think tank in Washington, D.C. called Getty, which is the Global Entrepreneurship Development Institute. It's done the research to measure the impact on the world by each country, breaking it down to 14 different pillars of measurements to measure entrepreneurship and to see what could be each country's weakness and strength and how they can improve entrepreneurship. Globally, there is $22 trillion to be added to the global GDP if we increase the support of entrepreneurship by 10%. This is a massive number. If we look at it just in Turkey alone, Turkey stands to gain about a third of $1 billion, $331 billion, a third of $1 trillion, $331 billion by increasing activities and supporting entrepreneurs by extra 10%. This is substantial impact that could be had on the economy. And these are like the 4 different areas where you could see Turkey's strongest is in risk capital. Its score is 0.76, and its weakest in risk acceptance. It's kind of interesting, 2 out of these 14 different dimensions that they're measured against many other countries. So I guess there is a lot of investment capital here in Turkey, but every investor must return the investment, maybe, or there's punishment if the risk acceptance is the lowest. You could see some elements also where Turkey is a little bit lower on, close to about 39% on the networking. And event like this is great. It's happening to increase the networking and add to it and increase all these variable different dimensions there to allow for that growth and achieving more of these available opportunities for the country. Additionally, so this is like all the things that we can gain and an example of Turkey that we could see what could happen to Turkey by supporting and nurturing entrepreneurship properly. What we also see is the possibility of the impact or the negative impact of not supporting entrepreneurship. A lot of things that could happen in the world is because of lack of ability to contribute, to create value, And this could cause and contribute to even more trouble and more devastating impact in escalating violence and escalating problems that could happen. I was born and raised in Syria, and this is what happened in my hometown back in 1982, and this is what we see happening again just a couple of years ago and today in Syria. This kind of destructions is just the lack of abilities to really, for people to grow and contribute economically and add value in the world. And what they do is these same conditions that support and nurture entrepreneurship are the same conditions that they're very highly correlated conditions with the same way that they support more peace and more prosperity in the world. People don't want to fight, and people are not going to go to resentment and revenge and terrible things when they are earning good money, when they're earning good buck and earning a living, and they're being respected, and they have entrepreneurial economic way to develop and contribute. So what we aim to do is try to impact and elevate entrepreneurs globally, and seeing this as also a vehicle to make the world a better place and make the world a little more peaceful. Every country is aware of the opportunities to increase its economics and improve it through entrepreneurship. And every country could do more about bringing more innovation that has been proven that innovation contributes directly to economic impacts and increase the growth than just increasing the input in the same existing method. So what countries have done and what everybody's been obviously doing is focusing on how do we do this. The most obvious way of supporting the economics innovation that leads to the technology innovation that leads to economic development and growth is through startup accelerators. So startup accelerators, there's a lot of money and budgets that is allocated by a lot of governments and entities into supporting and nurturing entrepreneurship, because that's going to lead to more economic developments, more jobs, and more prosperities globally. And what we see with that is the same logic that the countries and then obvious for people to do is the accelerator encourage the entrepreneur to participate. This increase the development of more innovative projects and technology that leads to economic growth. However, in here we also see that this is a limited approach to solving the problem to its full potential. Startup Accelerator's job is to support investors first and the entrepreneur second. They have other investors' money, they need to return it, and their job is to create just the economic growth and make these entities and the startup they invest in successful. So what this does is it fails to address many other areas that they're important to nurturing entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship to reach its full potentials and to reach this economic growth and to make the world much more peaceful. By focusing specifically and ultimately to 80% probably of the interest is how do we support this venture become viable economically and make it grow and work. But to focus explicitly on the business, we're missing a big piece. We all acknowledge that the most important thing in businesses and in startups are the people. And what we believe is focusing, supporting only for prioritizing the people a little bit coming second after focusing on how do we increase the return for the investors is not sufficient. There are other elements that are much more important as well, and they're key to achieving to attract more investments and to make the investment community even more successful. So one of the key things that we want to do is also help nurture the talents and the leadership abilities for these entrepreneurs to achieve and become quick learners, as we've heard, and use these lessons that they do to reach to be able to execute and to be able to learn more into building their full capacity. We need mentorship and guidance, and this is very important also from Mudassar. What we've seen is a great role models is the best way to teach other entrepreneurs than just reading from other books and seeing things online. So we need more involvement, as he described, like having the mentors and the board members and the local resources involved has helped Kareem reach its potential. That is a key piece that we need to start focusing on it and emphasize on having a mentorship and the development of the leadership of the entrepreneur through some of that. We also need to nurture the growth knowledge, specific knowledge that kind of allows them to reach their full potential, allow them to believe and give them the permission to see themselves also growing global companies in the billions and you know, great valuation and great ability to get there. This knowledge and an understanding that has to be coming also from experience of people who've done it before, and they know the path to doing it and preventing them from doing the mistakes that they probably could have done. They need access to network. They need the specific proactive access to network. Again, another thing that kind of happens through mentorships and the connections and these relationships that are not specifically financially transacted. Ability for people to connect globally and achieve these great places to make great deals is one of the key things that's also needed for startups. So, you know, one of the things that we see in this place and what Barak has been doing here with Startup Turkey and Startup Istanbul is phenomenal. It's bringing all these people together to increase all of these elements where the financial, the risk capital, the investors are absolutely important to be had in this game. But bringing for people this to live together and interact and focus on a network and building their relationships is one of the key parts of nurturing the entrepreneur and helping them connect. It's a lot of it that could happen through this serendipitous connections and interactions that happen. So thank you, Barak, for being at it and not quitting and doing these two great events, and I'm honored to be here. The approach that we've seen here is like, you know, there's the holistic value versus the narrow value. The entrepreneur first versus the investor first. Just a perspective to see how some of the big accelerators, more successful names, they're focusing on entrepreneurs, they're building great companies, they are providing some access to network, they are providing some access to knowledge, but they're really prioritizing first is the return that they want to financially achieve. What we see is focusing on the other elements is key piece to this. And this is what Blackbox has started from the beginning to do, is focusing on the most important person in the room is the entrepreneur. And we have done entrepreneur first programs, and what we do in Silicon Valley and what we're now traveling and doing programs across the globe is to help nurture and empower and focus on elevating the entrepreneurs. One way you could see this is how you value creation over time by startup, and now accelerator shorten that path potentially to achieving that value in more condensed time. What we believe we could do is, first, we need to elevate the entrepreneur. If we elevate them from supporting them individually and working on all of these other areas that I've mentioned, this is higher way of achieving the results and getting all this development to happen and nurturing entrepreneurship globally as we enter this global market and the interactions. And this is what we believe is you have to elevate before you accelerate. And Blackbox is just about commitment to doing that globally for entrepreneurs, no matter where they're at and what corner of the world that they exist and starting from. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for having me in here.